What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripes show. Yankees been busy, Scott. Last we talked, Soto signed with the Mets, and we kind of just said, you know what? Let's take a breather. Let's see what happens the rest of the week at the GM meetings, and then come back after some moves have been made. And we were going to record yesterday morning, so we're recording Wednesday, December 18th. We were going to record Tuesday, then some work stuff got in the way, and it turns out it's a good thing for once. We actually caught a break on the news break because we would have been talking about, are the Yankees going to trade for Bellinger? What's going to happen here? And then 6 hours later, that became official. So I guess finally something broke our way on that. What's up?
Yeah, man. I put in right after we decided that we're going to do it today. I'm like, Yankees just need to sign Bellinger today, and they cooperated. So that was good. They were in a position, and yesterday I was going to be talking about the fact that they hadn't signed him yet. And all the reports were that it was very close and that they were, a few $1 million off. And that seemed to be the actual case. And when, some additional pressure of the Blue Jays or whatever the reports were that kind of, had another team come into the fold to put the pressure on, whether it was real or not, Yankees then just said, okay, cool. Like we'll figure it out. If they were pushing for $10 million and they got $5 million, whatever it was, you just can't let that. You can't let him get away at that point. So I'm glad that they did it. And we didn't have to have that conversation because the common sense department swoops in right there and says, what are you doing? This is one of the only and best left-handed bats that are available to play one of the positions that you have. Of the 5 that are available, go get this man. And if you let $5 million get between that, then this is insane. What are we doing? So thankfully they did it and they got him. And to me this year, Cody Bellinger looks a lot better than he did last year.
Why?
Because there's no Juan Soto.
Because they had to.
Yeah.
Because he's the only one left at the dance.
He's the only one left at the dance.
The bar has cleared out. It's 2:30 in the morning. The lights turn on. I look around. Who's left?
Well, Giancarlo is. Don't have him in the same room with that when that happens because they'll realize they had an overlap.
He was Mike Stanton when that happened. Different guy.
But yeah, I mean, you don't want to call. I know this is Bellinger was part of your plans last year.
To sign though, and then obviously they didn't. Sign. But so my plans last year,
it's a different circumstance,
completely different circumstance. Last year they obviously acquired both Verdugo and Soto for the outfield, and I never wanted Bellinger instead of Soto. Duh, no one would ever say that. And if any Yankees fan is trying to make the argument, oh well, we got Cody Bellinger, that replaces Juan Soto. No, it doesn't replace Juan Soto. You still have a long way to go before you replace Juan Soto. My argument was, either acquire Verdugo or go sign Bellinger. And I said, I'd rather have Bellinger in that spot because of his flexibility. And I still stand that to this day. Verdugo, we all know how much we all hated him throughout the season. And Bellinger, I'm not saying he had a great year for Chicago last year. He was, I think, a 108 OPS plus. So tick better than league average, but he's still going to give you more offensive prowess in the lineup. A middle of the order left-handed bat, which Verdugo was not. Quality defense in center field, which is a position you need, and the ability to play first base, which is the position you need. So yes,
the conversation was never Verdugo versus Bellinger. I made it the conversation because I was just trying to be a dickhead and say that Verdugo was going to have a better season than Bellinger. There was no argument ever that Verdugo over Bellinger was the move to make. Let's be very clear with that.
You just feel like you're made that argument.
No. I was just trying to be an asshole afterwards, saying that
whether you were being
Verdugo's
an asshole or
on
not.
The team. Frankly, the first half of the season, if Verdugo didn't. Whatever, I don't even know what happened to that
first
guy.
Month of the season. It was the first month. I remember
it was still close at the first half.
You sent me that text message. It was like May 1st, and you were like, "Oh, look at this!" And then from that point on, it was like two ships passing in the night, going the opposite direction. And that's not even to say Bellinger was that good.
Because one of these guys was on the injured list a couple times as well.
Bad.
Again,
sure. But you know what? He played 130 games, which is what I said he would play, which is what he plays every year. 130. He misses a month of the calendar. He misses 30 games. Just bank it. He's going to miss 30-ish games in 2025.
There was some freak, he got it was like a fractured finger.
Finger.
So, that's a freak. Yeah. That's a freak thing.
But no, I have to be a man and stick to my word, injury guys get injured, whether it's freak or not freak. You run into a wall, you pull a hammy, you hit your elbow. Shit just happens with injury guys.
I think he did run into a wall actually and was out for a little bit then.
He probably ran into the ivy with the brick behind it.
Well, all the reports are saying that there's a lot of reports. I actually saw a couple conflicting from some beat guys, but the initial reports coming out of the Cody Bellinger signing was that he's coming to play center field. That's what he's coming to play, which to me was a little confusing because I don't know how you can make that declaration at this point. The guy can play first, the guy can play center. You don't know what the rest of the offseason is going to entail or who you're able to sign unless Brian Cashman has something that's completely imminent and they're already communicating that, yes, you're going to be in center because so-and-so is at first base. And that's just not Cashman's style. He doesn't usually give away that card to kind of pigeonhole himself with as far as leverage goes with one of the potential free agents or even in a trade market. So I still believe that there's going to be position flexibility with Bellinger as of right now, depending on what the Yankees do. And frankly, like that's what should happen because he can play both positions and the Yankees should go and make sure that they're filling this roster with the best fit players, best available players at position. So if you're looking at the fact that they have these multiple positions that are open, you can go glass half full and say, okay, now you got options. You have different guys that you can sign and still with a guy like Bellinger, plug in that puzzle piece, where it fits the best and you're good and you can still go after best available guy. I think that's what they should do.
Yeah. Unless you're talking about signing Bregman, who's the best free agent infielder on the market.
Yeah.
Who would be your starting third baseman. And then you'd move Jazz over to second base. And then you would probably
still doesn't affect.
But you'd probably end up then at that point playing a bit of musical chairs with first base, which would include Bellinger. I don't think that's their plan. I don't think they're going to sign Bregman. So then you go to the next logical thing and say, okay, well, the first base options on the market are better than the other third or second base options on the market. So if you sign someone, Christian Walker, Pete Alonso, or somebody like that, which I'm not necessarily advocating for, but that might be where this report is coming from, that if the Yankees sign one of those free agent first basemen, well, then Bellinger might play first base, but it's going to be in spots. It's not going to be like 3 days a week.
Yeah. Well, I think that they have flexibility. So you want to do that? Let's talk about, do you want to get into any of this? You want to talk more about Bellinger, about, what they are?
Yeah. Well,
also, by the way, we haven't talked about Max Fried yet either.
No, I know we haven't talked about Max Fried. We got to talk about him. We got to talk about Devin Williams. And yeah, a big part of this is what else are the Yankees going to do? Because they can't be done. This team is not better versus last year, even with the moves that they've made. It's not. The offense still.
Well, I don't think it's a finished. It's not. They're not finished.
It's not a finished product. I know that. Yeah. So as much as we're going to talk, you can be excited about Fried and Williams and Bellinger. Like even those do not equal the loss of Juan Soto. Still, you still have not filled that gap. And I'm the biggest Gleyber Torres hater out there, but he's also a hole in your lineup that is coming out. So
I mean, yeah. All right, so let's talk about let's react to the guys that they just signed, and then we can get into, because I'm done with the whole we got to replace Juan Soto piece of it. Like, yeah, we get it. We have to replace Juan Soto. That has to happen. Juan Soto's no longer on this team, so he's dead to me. Like, it's done. It's done. He's fat. He's done. He changed his phone number. Whatever. There's a bunch of weird things around there.
One thing we have to talk about is he didn't speak to any Yankees teammates after the World Series ended.
Yeah, there's also reports that he changed his phone number after the World Series as well. So they didn't have I don't know. Yes, that's strange. There's something strange
going on with, and who knows? It might be Juan Soto's a strange guy, and like he alienated some people in San Diego. I don't think he alienated anyone in Washington, but then again, there haven't really been like much chatter about that. But the World Series ends and he doesn't speak to any Yankees teammates, not a text message, not a phone call, not a tweet, not a Instagram DM, not a here's a funny TikTok reel I'm sending you. Weird.
It's weird. It is weird. It is weird. So I don't know what that says.
I don't either.
It's all pure speculation, but there's got to be some of it on his side.
Absolutely.
You can't absolve him for that. Like, people are like, well, where was he when Judge won the MVP? Was there like nice job, cap, or something along the lines.
This doesn't even need to be about Juan Soto needs to text Judge about his MVP. Judge needs to text Juan Soto about.
That just means there's communication going
How
back
is
and forth.
like you just spent 6 months with this guy? You went with these teammates. Okay, these teammates spent 6 months together. They went to the World Series. Everything was lovey-dovey the whole year. And then just World Series ends, nothing? Don't talk to you like you don't exist? Bizarre. It's bizarre on both fronts.
Yeah, it is bizarre. Maybe he did change his number and didn't tell anybody. So the text messages were sent from one side and then just never received. And like, I guess this guy's just big time.
He's just been eating for the
eating and big
month
time
and a half
and
since.
drinking.
And so Juan Soto, he might be the type of guy who gets a little pudgy right after the season. Like he's not going to work out as much. He's just going to eat. And then he'll, maybe January 1st, he goes on a crash diet and workout program to get ready for spring training. If that's what he's doing, he can do that because he's 25, 26 years old. You try and do that when you're 32 years old with still 10 years to go on your contract. Ain't going to work so good.
I gotta tell you, I don't even believe that he's fat either. I just think there was probably some bad lighting and like who the hell knows now with Photoshop.
He looks
and AI.
15, 20 pounds heavier than
There's
he did.
no way he's 15 to 20 pounds heavier.
Look at that gut. He's got the Gleyber Torres gut. I've always said it's egregious that Gleyber Torres is 27 years old and a professional athlete and he has a gut. It's inexcusable.
All right. We can body shame Juan Soto all we want as he's in New York Met. He's going to look, the pinstripes that are blue and orange make you look a little different. They're not as slimming. So, but you know who is slim coming over? Max Fried. Like that dude is blows with the wind. But he's got like 19 pitches. And if you've heard anything about me admiring pitchers, it's if you got an arsenal. If you have an arsenal, one of my favorite guys ever to watch ever in baseball history was El Duque, because you never knew what the hell was coming out of his hand. Max Fried is a guy in that ilk that is able to throw the kitchen sink at you. And, his middle name is run prevention.
8 years, $218 million, 27.25 million AAV. I think some were theorizing the Yankees wanted to go to the extra year so they get the AAV down, but then there were reports that Fried wanted the extra year and didn't care as much about the AAV. He just wanted basically this to be the last contract because got to remember with him, he is entering his age 31 season. He turns 31 in January. So he's a bit on the older side for someone to give an 8-year contract to. Listen, I like the pitcher. All the numbers look good. He's been one of the most effective pitchers in baseball the past 4+ seasons. Did this signing, though, strike you as a bit odd?
We were talking about this the last time we had a show, and I was of the thinking that look at what's out there. Look at the market. Like you are not, if you're going to replace Juan Soto with a bat, or you think you are, you're not going to do it. You can't do it. You can add 2 to 3 bats and you're not going to replace that production. So you need to do something else. And pitching was the area that I thought that they would do. So yeah, I thought that they were going to sign either Fried or Corbin Burns. I thought they were going to sign one of the two.
And that's where I come to.
Corbin Burns is and the right-handed power pitcher. Obviously, Fried being a lefty, having a good ground ball rate, being able to a lot of soft contact. Like again, it doesn't let up a lot of runs, which is I think a very important piece here. If you're not going to have the explosive offense that you've had in the past, you need to prevent runs in some capacity to get that plus minus in line when that guy's on the bump. So yeah, I did expect this. I expected them to go out there and get another big arm. I thought they were going to do it.
Why though? If you're willing to spend 8 and 218 million, like why not spend 9 and 300 on Corbin Burns? Like you could
definitely argue both. Who's the better pitcher right now for the next 4 years? Who's the better pitcher?
Corbin Burns is the better pitcher the next 4 years, the next 8 years, the last 4 years, the last 8 years.
For Yankee Stadium, for what they have, I think they're very close. I don't think it's all that different. And they're different types of pitchers. They're different style pitchers. But I think that Fried, I think it's a toss up. I think Fried is extremely good.
Yeah, the Yankees now have $110 million wrapped up in 4 starting pitchers: Cole, Fried, Rodon, and Stroman. Obviously, Nestor Cortes got shipped to Milwaukee for Devin Williams, but the cheap options in the rotation are Luis Hill and
Clark Schmidt. So
Sorry.
the
I was trying
fact
to
that
read something and speak at the same time and say different things while reading something else, and my brain just
it
malfunctioned.
didn't work.
No.
The so the only concern, and I again have been joking about this in the past, but it's really not a joke at this point, because the same seemingly the majority of, if not all of the coaching staff is returning, and the fact that their philosophy is, don't let these guys go deep into games in meaningful situations. That's something that needs to be addressed and essentially thrown out the window here. You signed that much.
You've got $110 million in just 2025 salary in your 4 pitchers in the rotation. Like, if you're not leaning into your starting pitchers, then what the hell are you spending all this money on them for?
This also can't just be something that you do in the playoffs. It can't be something that you start to do in August and September. This needs to be part of their conditioning. It needs to be part of their mindset. It needs to be part of all of the aspects of getting ready for Major League Baseball. It needs to be in their mindset right now. Is that the new expectation for starting pitchers is going to be 6-7 innings. It's not going to be 4 to 5 innings. You need to get them into the mindset of doing that. They are all physically able to do it. It's a matter of being accustomed to do it. It's a matter of being conditioned to do it, and then going for the long haul and being able to have your body stay in tune so that you can also do it at the end of the season. And I with the way that they're building out this team, and I know we'll talk about Devin Williams in a second, which is a very, very, very good thing, because they have the back of the bullpen now locked up, and I still think there's more work to do there, but they're leaning into the pitching side. They need to allow their pitchers to pitch. They need to allow these guys who they're paying a ton of money to go out there and earn those dollars in high leverage, high stakes situations. And be able to trust them, not just to go immediately to the nerds and say, okay, well, this number looks good here, this number looks good there. You need to have a little bit of a gut check with the way that you are managing the pitching staff, given the fact that you've leaned in this high, this far with the dollars and the talent. The talent is there. It's in the front of the pitching staff.
Sure. Cole, Fried, Rodon. Say what you want about Rodon, but he's being paid like a front end pitcher.
And then, oh, by the way, rookie of the year.
So Stroman's being paid a lot, but like, honestly, is he even on the roster going into next year? Do they try and find someone to take half the money and pay half the money to get him off the roster? Because if I'm just saying who the 5 starting pitchers I want on opening day, it's Cole, Fried, Rodon, Heel, and Schmidt. It's not Stroman.
So I think this leads to the back half of the show today and what they still have the ability to do. And I think the fact that Stroman's on this team and is your 4 or 5 guy, you have some flexibility with either Heel or Clark Schmidt, and both of them are hot commodities that would get, they would be able to return a significant player because of who they are. So I think they're in a position of strength right now with their pitching staff in terms of not only the starting 5 that they have or would put out there, but too, the amount of leverage they have, not just they have some prospects, but they have major league talent in a pitching staff, which is expensive as shit right now. So at the highest premium, to leverage into a trade to get better somewhere else on the team.
In a world in which Luis Hill could have gotten Kyle Tucker back, should they have done that?
Yeah. Say that again. If no,
because like the reports were,
I didn't like, unless Kyle Tucker is going to sign an extension, I'm not giving up Luis Hill for that season of Tucker.
I would have personally driven Luis Hill to Houston.
Yeah.
And I don't even like driving. You have to do that. Come on, Kyle Tucker. You're talking about like replacing Juan Soto. That replaces Juan Soto. And yeah, of course you try and sign him to an extension, but even with no guarantees, there's no guarantees Luis Hill's going to be anything. There's a guarantee Kyle Tucker. There's a guarantee Kyle Tucker is one of the best players in baseball in 2025.
Yeah, if he's healthy, yes, then that's definitely the case. But yeah, I don't know. Luis Hill's too much of a.
You just spent all this money in your starting rotation. You're going to buy pitching anyway. So trade away your young pitching. You're clearly your plan, because you can't really develop pitching. You've done it like 3 times over the past 30 years. You've developed starting pitcher. You're paying for pitching, so go trade your young starting pitching and sell high on it.
I think that they have the ability to do that still, and they could trade him, and they could trade Clark Schmidt still. I think it still could happen because
Clark Schmidt
that's their
doesn't have
best
as
chip.
much value.
He's got good value. He's
Not
got
as
good
much
value.
as Heel, though.
They were, all if you don't remember in the playoffs too, like every booth that was talking about Clark Schmidt was drooling over him.
Yeah.
Ron Darling was like
Ron
wanted
Darling
to
and Bob
adopt him as his
Costas were on
child.
different planets speaking into a microphone.
Bob, I'm not talking about Bob Costas.
Would you have traded Clark Schmidt if Houston wanted Clark Schmidt for Tucker?
Yes, I would.
Okay, so what's the difference? You keep talking about.
I covet Heel. That's the difference.
Okay. All right.
I think Heel has the better long-term future. I think he's the more dynamic of the two. I think there's a lot more that can go right with him than go wrong. I think the upside is just significantly higher with him.
Where does Luis Hill have a better chance at turning into like a 10-year all-star starting pitcher? Houston or the Yankees?
Well, if I'm Luis Hill and you ask me that question, maybe I have a different answer.
Yeah,
but
I want to go to Houston where they have like that voodoo
give me
magic.
That spin right. Give me that spin right juice.
Yeah.
Give me that spin rate juice. But you look at what they have now, and they do have options. They have options not only there, but they have options looking down with top tier guys. But before we get to that, the Devin Williams signing.
Yeah, can I say a couple other things on Max Fried? Because I do like the pitcher. I don't want to make it seem like I don't like the pitcher. Since 2020,
he's a very good pitcher.
659 innings pitched, 2.81 ERA, 3.11 FIP, which is a 151 ERA plus, which means he's 51% better than league average. 8.5 strikeouts per 9, 2.3 walks per 9 innings. And there's a good stat going around, I believe. I forget where this came from. I know Ilya dropped it in our chat.
Put it in.
That Yankees catcher should help Fried because Atlanta ranked 14th in Fangraphs pitch framing, and the Yankees ranked 2nd in baseball. So that walk rate could come down. He could also get some more strikeouts this way, so his numbers could actually improve going into next year than what we've seen over the past few seasons from him. In 2024, he made 29 starts, 174 innings, 3.25 ERA. His advanced metrics are all really good, especially like leads, does not give up hard contact. Like you look at the barrel percentage, hard hit percentage, average exit velocity. He's all in the upper echelon of league rankings there. He's got, you joked, he's got a ton of pitches. He's four-seam fastball 33% of the time, curveball 21%, sinker 15%, changeup 13%, and then he throws both a sweeper and a slider around 5.5% each. So,
because it's the same pitch. Yeah, cool.
Combine those to 11%, call it a slider. But that's a solid distributed 5-pitch mix. And his curveball and his sweeper slider are actually his most effective pitches when you just look at pitch value. His fastball, the value on it isn't actually great. His fastball velocity is middle of the pack. And then if you look at the slugging percentage given up on his fastball, that's the one area you could say. Especially the Yankees, you know how they like to just like make everyone throw sinkers and change ups and sliders and sweepers and fork balls and screwballs and gyro balls and anything except a four-seam fastball.
Yeah, well, the beautiful thing about him is that he does throw a four-seam fastball and he uses it to control it's not like that's an out pitch. It's a control pitch. This is how I get ahead in counts. This is how I show something a little different. Hopefully he can teach Carlos Rodon how to pitch, because that would be tremendous. Because if he can do that, then we have two bona fide left-handed starters that can throw a little bit more at you. But if you're able to throw that four-seam fastball and a sinker and a changeup, now you're looking at arm action that looks very similar. You're looking at the difference between those pitches, probably very difficult to pick up, and thus making you don't need the four-seam fastball to be the most dynamic pitch in the world. You just need to show it, and you need to be able to locate it. And for all intents and purposes, like he's able to locate his pitches, and some guys work off of a fastball, and some guys use the fastball to get to their other pitchers, and I think he's one of those guys.
If Andy Pettitte couldn't teach Carlos Rodon how to pitch, you think Max Fried's going to be able to do it?
I think Andy Pettitte started to, but he's not there every day. Like he drops his nuggets when he's there. And
I thought you were going to say something else. Dropped his nuggets.
Well, he dropped that as well. And I think he was more teaching him about like how to control your emotions.
Okay.
And you have to pick and choose what you're going to go after when you're only there 3 days a year.
If you look at CC Sabathia's career arc, once he lost his stuff, obviously he went through some struggles. He also battled alcoholism, some weight fluctuation, but then towards like the late 2015, 2016, 2017, he became a more of a pitcher than a thrower. Obviously, he might.
He
be
was
a
always
Hall
a
of Fame-
pitcher.
Yes, I know he's going to be a Hall of Famer, I believe. But like, he really had to pitch because his stuff was pretty mediocre in those later years with the Yankees. I don't know, Cece, what are you up to? Can you go?
He's done it too. He's come
Rodon?
talk to Rodon.
I
He's
know.
talked to Rodon as well.
So
Like,
is Rodon just too thick-headed? Can't get through to him? Because that very well might be the case.
yeah, or not able to make those adjustments in season. So let's get him talking to these folks early on. But Max Fried is having him in the dugout every day. The conversations between him and Rodon and Garrett Cole, are just. I wish I could be a fly on the wall to listen to just how they talk and what they talk about, because that's just a good group of dudes to have in there. And Luis Heel can certainly benefit from that. And I think Clark Schmidt also, if he's on the team, can benefit from that. But it's just a good room if you're looking at the group of guys to be able to help each other.
Corporate speak.
Yeah. Well, no, it's more like a football thing. You want to
The quarterback room.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see some competition between them. I want to see, let's have one outdo the other. And if there's a new mandate from someone saying that, hey, 6-7 innings is the new, it's back in style. Like, let's get back to that quality start stat of yesteryear. Then, there could be some good things that happen here, because it's a damn talented group of guys.
Fried did lead the NL in complete games last year.
With how many? 2, 1, 2. Yeah.
If you get to two now, that leads the league. 3 is like unheard of.
But here's the thing: it has nothing to do with the pitcher's ability to throw a complete game.
What do you mean?
It doesn't have anything to do with the ability of a pitcher to throw a complete game.
Oh, you're saying the team allowing him to throw a complete game.
Yeah.
It does this. No, because Carlos Rodon does not have the ability to pitch a complete game, because he's never going to be pitch economical enough. Even if the Yankees let him throw 120 pitches, that's maybe a couple outs in the 7th inning.
I'm not talking about Carlos Rodon specifically. I'm talking about league wide, that number being so low.
Sure.
It's a change in philosophy.
Absolutely. Yeah. The Yankees do also lose $1 million in bonus pool money with the signing of Fried, because he was given the qualifying offer by the Braves. So this, something else. Do you think there was any hesitancy? Do you think there would be a problem had the Yankees gone after Burns instead of Fried, giving him a $300-ish million contract with Cole? You talk about the room. Would Cole not want to be 1A? He wants to be 1. He wouldn't want to be 1A with Corbin Burns.
No, I don't think that's a thing.
Okay.
I think most smart people understand economics and how, dollars change over the years. I think that is probably one of the biggest overblown.
I think it was overblown when people were like, "Oh, you can't give Soto more AAV than Judge." Like, well, no, that's how free agency goes. The next guy gets more money. That's how it's always been. That's how it always will be. That's the point.
Unless you sign Juan Soto, and now the next guy will not get more than him.
But Juan Soto was always going to get more money than Aaron Judge.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, we do have to talk about Devin Williams, who I'm very excited about. But first, the days are shorter. We're approaching the shortest day of the year. Your to-do list is not getting shorter, though, especially with the holidays right around the corner. Let Factor take shopping, prepping, cooking, and cleaning off of your to-do list this holiday season. They have everything from breakfast to dessert and anything in between. Factor has easy, nutritious options to keep you fueled up and feeling your best. Factor has thought of everything when it comes to customizing your meals. You pick from 35 delicious meals each week. They also have 60 additional add-ons like keto cookies, pressed juices, and smoothies. And you can pick from 6 menu preferences to help you manage your calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply just eat a well-balanced diet. We've got the New Year's resolutions right around the corner too, and I feel like the number one resolution on everyone's list is always lose weight, eat healthier. Factor meals can help you do that. The meals are prepared by highly skilled chefs and delivered right to you each week. The food is always fresh, never frozen. The best part is it takes just 2 minutes to heat up and there's no mess afterwards. It's really, really convenient. My all-time favorite is the chorizo chili, but they have delicious options like home-style chicken and gravy and truffle butter filet mignon. Power through your busy days with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Head to factormeals.com/50bronx to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/50bronx, half off your first box and free shipping. Factormeals.com/50 Bronx. The number 50, not spelled out. Devin Williams for Nestor Cortez, Caleb Durbin, and $2 million in cashola, which Nestor's going to place at the craps table in Milwaukee. Williams is 30 years old. He won the 2020 NL Rookie of the Year. He's got career ERA of 1.83, 68 saves, 60 holds, 39% strikeout rate, which is excellent, 48% ground ball rate. The one bugaboo might be his walk rate, which is 11.8%. Anytime you've got a high walk rate as a late inning reliever, that can always get you in trouble. But he's got filthy stuff. His best pitch is his changeup, nicknamed Airbender. So I don't know if he's going to break the Canely consecutive changeup record of 1 billion, but his airbender changeup has a career 139 batting average allowed, 223 slugging, 223 on base, 200 slugging. There's just filthy numbers on that pitch. Recent injury history on him: stress fracture in his lower back caused him to miss the first 4 months of the 2024 season. And I know people were like, "Oh, this dude just blew the NLDS against the Mets. Like he's a choker," but this dude's filthy.
Dude's filthy. This deal came out of left field for me. I did not see it coming. I didn't, I guess the Milwaukee turns guys around and turns guys over like this when they're going into contract years,
right?
No matter what their team looks like. So
yeah. If free agency is coming, we're trading you.
Yeah. And the fact that they, gave up Nestor Cortez, Caleb Durbin, who, for a while people were like, "Oh, he's going to be the next second baseman." Like, okay. And a couple $1 million in cash. It's just Cashman hit a home run on this. Like he all of these deals that we've talked about, or the Bellinger deal and this deal, I think Cashman really nailed. I think he got the best of them, gave up as little as humanly possible.
Nestor is not. I mean, Cody Petite for Cody Bellinger is as little as possible.
Nestor Cortez to get one of the 2-3 most dominant closers in the game is nothing. It's nothing.
Okay, but I feel like
not
that's
to mention
a little
we
bit
just
of a
talked about
disservice to Nestor.
How deep you are in the starting pitching side, and when you sign Max Fried, it gives you the ability to do this.
Absolutely. Nestor Cortez had to be traded after you signed Max Fried, 100%. But I'm not. But
and this has nothing to do with the fact that everybody loves Nestor. Nestor is a beloved Yankee. Was a beloved Yankee, no doubt about it.
Was done dirty in the World Series by 100%.
Yeah. The blame is not on him; it's on Boone, definitely for that home run. And I hope he has success. That said, the Yankees so badly needed someone to come in and lock down the back of that bullpen. And if we're just walking in with with the guys that we currently have, I know they outperformed. They've played well, and some of the bullpen guys who were on the team last year are going to contribute in a big way coming up. But they needed someone who had been there and done that. And one of the biggest problems I had going into last year was the fact that they had a bunch of dudes that names were not recognizable in the bullpen, and really hoping it worked out. And for the most part, it did work out. But at the end of the year, the fact that their philosophy was, we got to bail on our starting pitching early and go to this bullpen, it just started to rear its ugly head a little bit. And just give me the comfort level of a lockdown guy. And this is it. And apparently open to, the discussions of a contract extension, which would be a very good thing for the Yankees to do. I think the Yankees should just get it done, sign this guy, make him your closer, and now build pieces around him.
Well, that's interesting because he is set to earn $8.4 million in his last year of arbitration in 2025. And after the Yankees signed the last big bullpen arms they signed were Britton and Chapman. They really haven't signed bullpen arms. They've acquired bullpen arms, but they haven't spent big money on them. Like, I don't know what Williams is going to get for a contract. If you're talking about extension right now, it's probably like a 4-year, $45 million contract.
It's more than that.
You think so?
$10 million a year? Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be more than that. I think it's probably going to be closer to like 15 to 17.
Okay, so you're talking $60 million for 4 years.
Yeah.
Are they going to spend that on a closer?
They should. A guy like him who can, we've seen the valuable. I mean, how many wins was a closer worth last year? It's pretty apparent.
Negative
how many
14.
Wins. Yeah. So, the fact that you don't have someone who can actually go in there and confidently close a game is a big deal, especially if you believe you're going to be, leading in a lot of games going into the ninth inning. So
It's interesting that Williams in his press conference said he thought the whole time he was going to go to the Dodgers, because the Dodgers, they have a good bullpen, so they were going to add to that bullpen. Yankees snuck in at the end to get the deal done. He seemed very happy to be a Yankee, really excited, which was cool. And this is the type of bullpen move we were looking for Cashman to make last year, like an arm with talent at the back of the rotation. Like, no questions about it, stuff. Instead, you got Mark Leiter Jr., you got Canely only throwing changeups. You got this mishmash hodgepodge of guys that, like, you never felt good about.
So I want to let's talk about how they're building out here, because this conversation kind of dovetails into something. I want to do a bit of an exercise where it's a little bit of a mini GM episode. I'm going to throw some things at you, and you react. I think that the Yankees at this point right now, the way that they are, obviously we know the position players, and we'll talk about that. But let's start with the pitching right now first. They have to. I think they have to continue to lock down the bullpen and lean further into pitching. Period. And if you're going to
run prevention is the motto of 2025.
Yes. And you have to upgrade the offense, no doubt about it. But I think you can get a little bit more. It's the position that they're in, and with the way that they've spent money and made the acquisition with Devin Williams and Max Fried, they're leaning into it very clearly. So instead of leaning into it a little bit, and some would say this isn't a little bit, but I think it's starting to lean into it. You've leaned into it now. It's clear that you've leaned into it. Now go one more. Now go the next step and actually just do it and lock it down. And to me, there are two guys that are out there right now that are available, and one is a big need. If you look at what the bullpen is right now, Tim Hill is free agent. They don't have him right now. Canely not there. They got no one to go up against lefties. They got no left-handed relief pitchers in there that are.
You gotta imagine they'll bring Hill back.
Maybe, but he had a good year. There's going to be competition for him.
Okay, but
hey, when you have a left-handed pitcher that shows you can do something, like you're going to get opportunities. Anyway, Tanner Scott's available. Go get him. And when you're looking at market rate, he had.
How did he do after the trade?
Pure for Spot Track, market value is 4 years and 65.5. So kind of what we said. So maybe Devin Williams gets even a tick up from that. But don't half-ass it. Go out and get one more. Go out and get another big name guy that has a big arm from the other side of the mound, and lock down the back end of that bullpen. Because if you believe that Luke Weaver can come in and continue to excel like he did last year, that's a back of the bullpen type guy. And now you truly do have a rebuilt 7, 8, 9 with guys that you can trust, that have arm talent, that can go out there and shut some games down on the days that your starting pitching doesn't get to the point. Or it's a nice little handoff to those guys. So Tanner Scott's one guy that I think they should absolutely go after, and at this point just sign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's just a free agent. With San Diego after the trade from Miami, he had 28 games, 2.73 ERA, 2.33 FIP. Really good numbers, but if you look at his numbers before the trade with Miami, he was off the charts. He had a 1.18 ERA in 44 games before the trade. Overall in the season, still very good numbers, and he was very good in 2023 as well. I agree that what is the rumored contract for him? Because he's 30 years old.
Spot Track has on here 4 years, 65.5. So
the contract we just talked about
it's basically the contract
Devin Williams.
It's probably where the number came from in my head. Yeah.
Well, you're obviously not. Yeah.
Do it. Look, you're
at this point. No, listen.
You have to lean into the pitching side of it right now. You have to, and then you have to assemble what you think you can be the best offense, because that offense is not going to be the same. But what you can do is make it a little different, make it a little more well-rounded. You can do things to improve the flow of the offense. You're not going to get the dynamic bat like you had with Juan Soto, but you can improve the depth of the lineup. You can make it a better hitting team 1 through 9.
It's a harder path to success, though.
Of course it is.
Because Juan Soto's a known quantity. You know exactly what you're going to get from him offensively. If you're adding Bellinger plus a free agent signing at first base, maybe an acquisition in the infield, maybe then a competition between Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez for an outfield spot. Obviously, everyone thinks Jason Dominguez has the lead there just from his experience thus far. That's a lot of ifs that need to happen for you to get that production. Juan Soto's not even an if. You know Juan Soto is going to produce next year. So
that's why you have to mitigate risk by leaning further into the pitching side, and with guys that are available. Again, Tanner Scott's a free agent.
No, I know that's an easy thing. That's just money you're giving up.
Yes. The other guy that you could sign, and this is what I think that they could also use in the bullpen, is a veteran presence and a guy that has been on the Yankees before. And no, not the guy that you think I'm going to say. I would go out there right now and I would sign Kirby Yates as well. Kirby Yates had one of the best seasons that he's had in his career. I think, what is he, 37 years old, something like that.
Well, it'd be a nice reunion.
Last year, he had a 3.3 WAR, 1.17 ERA, pitched in 61 games, saved 33 games, 61 innings, 85 strikeouts with a .827 WHIP. The guy is like a fine wine, excelling in his later years. Brings that veteran presence and a good right-handed presence that just complementary skill sets, complementary guys in the bullpen is the way to go. And then you can have an open competition with all these other mutts for the rest of the spots and see what happens. But if you give me Devin Williams, Tanner Scott, and Kirby Yates in the back of that bullpen,
Weaver, don't leave Weaver out.
No, I'm saying new additions.
Yeah.
Then I feel very confident by having Luke Weaver out there, and then whoever the cream rises to the top with the rest of the guys. That's a good bullpen. That's a very good bullpen. Yeah. And now you are complementing the signings that you've made in the starting rotation with a very good bullpen, and you've mitigated risk on the back ends, on the pitching side of the things. And now, you assemble the best offense you can possibly get, understanding that there's going to be some type of a drop-off at the top of the lineup in some capacity. Now you look for flexibility, you try to build depth, you try to elongate that 1 through 9 as much as you can.
You just need to come up with a better nickname than the Four Horsemen.
Fine. Whatever it is, there's opportunities. Now,
so I agree with you that obviously they're investing in Fried, acquiring Williams, maybe go get another bullpen arm or two to really double and triple down on your
go get the best bullpen arm you can get.
I agree. But that still, in my opinion, doesn't really move the needle a ton for next year, because this offense, and I'm not just making this about the loss of Soto. You look at the positions. The positions are just
empty.
I'm
not done talking.
Okay, but my point is they have to do so much positionally on this team, not to fill the need of Soto, to just have a competitive offense.
I think that's a little dramatic. I think that they will.
Who's their second best hitter right now?
Well, they still miss. They're missing 3 position players, so you can't have that conversation until. But
my point is, if you fill those position players with league average spots, the offense is trash. You have Judge and then not much behind him. Yeah, Bellinger, what's he going to be? Is he going to be the 135 OPS guy he was 2 years ago, or is he going to be the 108 OPS guy last year? If he's the 108 OPS guy, that's not really a number 2 to Judge. Is Jazz your second best hitter? I like Jazz. I like the dynamic nature of his entire game, but I think he's kind of...
Cody Bellinger is the second best hitter, right? Isn't that what now that he's on the team, he's the second best hitter?
He's the second best hitter, but my point is he's okay. He's not great.
Yeah. I understand that. But again, you look at what's available and the opportunities to improve it. There are some, but you got to do it in multiple stages. You can't just go out there and get one dude. So a few guys here, like looking at the free agent market, for people that are going to, and again, like this can be spun in different ways. If you believe that Cody Bellinger has position flexibility with them bringing him in, then you believe that they can go out and acquire either a first baseman, an outfielder, whether it's a center fielder or a left fielder. They can acquire a second baseman, or they could acquire a third baseman, and probably they need 2 of those in however they're going to piece it together, right? So you look at what is available at first base. Obviously you have the free agents with Pete Alonso. You have Christian Walker. Those are probably the 2 guys that you're looking at.
Santana.
You can go veteran guys if you want, but I think that comes down the list later, right? But you look at, if you're trying to make big impact, you're looking at one of those two guys if you're going after first base. The outfield to me gets a little bit more tricky in how you do things. Teoscar Hernandez hasn't signed yet with the Dodgers, but it looks like he's going to sign with the Dodgers. I haven't heard a ton that the Yankees are really, in on Teoscar Hernandez. We didn't hear shit about, Devin Williams either. So, maybe there's some covert stuff that's happening with conversations, but it's just, I don't know. It doesn't feel like that's going to happen, but that's an option. Like he's a right-handed bat. I understand, but he's a dynamic player that can go out and play left field right now. And you have your outfield set at that point. Whether it's Bellinger playing center field or Dominguez playing center field and Bellinger playing first base, like it gives you more flexibility. Or you go and you look at the trade market. And to me, the trade market does have opportunities. Looking at the trade market here, and this is two guys here that are interesting. I have for the outfield specifically. I'm looking before yesterday in Bellinger. I had another name in here that I was looking at with a guy from Minnesota, but I'm not even going to talk about him anymore because I don't think he's a real option. Who I do think is a potential option, and I know that the Athletics have talked about not moving him, but the Yankees now have an opportunity they're in a position of power given who they have, young guys in their rotation right now with Luis Gil and Clark Schmidt. But Brent Rooker, who is coming up, he's got 3 years left to control. He had a monster year last year, 39 home runs, 927 OPS.
He strikes out, but he has power.
He strikes out a lot. Yeah. He's a power guy. Slots into left field, not a great outfielder by any means. But again, what are you doing? Are you looking for defensive talent over offensive talent? No, you're looking for offensive talent over defensive talent. Like, I don't think there's a question in that. That's a guy that you could acquire right now, given who you have available. With 3 years left of control.
What are the Athletics do? What are the Athletics doing though?
I think that, with Severino and like Springs,
yeah,
they have young talent, but they also have to spend money. They have to spend some money.
They're playing are they playing a season or two in Sacramento?
Right? I think. Yeah.
So they don't want to. Why would they trade Rooker, who's got 3 more years of team control?
Because they're going to be dog shit for 3 years. They would.
Then why did they sign Luis Severino?
I think they have to spend money. Because they're getting money from the rest of the owners that's being spread out, so they have to spend money as well.
Yeah,
this is part of the game here. They've said that they're not going to trade him. I think that there's an availability to trade him. He's a very good player. Like I think that he would fit this team nicely. Another guy that you could go after, again, like looking at these options, and this is a guy that's coming off of a pretty shitty 2023, but the pedigree is there, the athleticism is there, and there's recency. In 2023, Luis Robert, who I believe is absolutely available right now, 38 home runs, 857 OPS, 20 stolen bases. Last year, I know he was coming back for some injury, but he was also coming back, came back and was bad. His K rate was over 30%. Like the guy looked completely lost.
You said he had a bad 23. He had a bad 2024. 2023, he finished 12th in MVP voting.
No, I said 2024. Yeah, 23 was his good year.
Was his good year. Last year an 87 OPS plus. Definitely some missed time due to injuries, and also
he had a hip flexor.
Played on the White Sox, which that had to be depressing day in and day out.
Oh yeah, and just that whole clubhouse seemed like it was just a disaster with the way that the guys were going about it. But he comes in, you have he signed an extension, so next year he's there for $15 million, club options for the next 2 years at age 28 and 29 for $20 million, and then he's an unrestricted free agent in 28. So he's entering his prime years as far as athleticism and baseball players go. He's definitely more of a wild card, but I mean, the Yankees again have the assets to make a move like this, to get a guy that's controlled, athletic as all hell, and plays a good center field.
You're trading Spencer Jones for either Robert or Rooker.
Yes.
Right.
I think that's
both of those teams.
Robert, I don't know. Robert, because of last year, may not take as much.
But those teams are going to want Spencer Jones, an outfielder, back, and I don't think they're going to. I still don't think the Yankees are going to move Jason Dominguez. I think they've invested too much in Jason Dominguez to trade him. But both of those teams giving up an outfielder with team control, they're going to want an outfielder in return with team control.
Yeah, that's fine. I think Spencer Jones at this point, you have to look at, unless they believe that Spencer Jones this year is going to be a major contributor and is going to, come up to the team, and there actually might be a competition between Dominguez and Spencer Jones. Because if, don't look now, but like Spencer Jones was in Double-A all last year, and that's all you need to have. You need to have
at this point, has Spencer
an extended
Jones,
period of time at Double-A.
Hasn't Spencer Jones at this point played more minor league games than Jason Dominguez?
I don't know, but he played a lot last year. And like, I don't really put a ton of stock in playing in AAA as a high level prospect. I think that if you show what you can show in Double-A, you spend a little bit, maybe you spend a little bit, but it's not a necessity, and it doesn't,
not a necessity, but then like,
it's more of the control of the time, really.
Like Judge took a very odd path for someone who turned out to be so good, because he went to every level and spent a lot of time at every level, which is why he was 25 years old when he was finally.
Yes. And Spencer Jones is 23, I believe. So, I mean, if he spends another year there, he's on that same path where he's going to be 25 when he comes up. So you're not getting, max years.
Phenoms blow through rookie ball, play a decent amount of time at Double-A, get like a week and a half at AAA, and then they're in the major leagues.
I mean, Dominguez has been floating in the minor leagues in some capacity for a while. And I know he signed early.
He's signed when he was 2 years old. He's injuries have caused him to start and stop seasons. Like, it's been very weird.
Yeah, I agree. But again, like there could be a competition. There could be, because Dominguez, is kind of has to prove himself again. He does have to prove himself again at this point. The guy was, looking lost out there, catching fly balls or trying to catch fly balls. And then at the plate, just didn't. I have
to just tell myself that was a fluke.
Yeah, because me too.
Because
there's no other way to look at that.
If the dude can't catch fly balls, what are we doing here?
Yeah, there's no other way to look at that. I cannot be concerned about his defense right now. I'm not. I'm just not concerned. I don't think about it. It's done. Like,
and God help us all if opening day he's playing center field and botches a fly ball.
Yeah, but I think those are two opportunities right there if you're looking at the outfield specifically. And again, maybe that's not where they're looking, because Bellinger, from again some of the reports, he's going to play center field. And if that's the case, then I think they're in a good spot right now, and they don't have to do a ton in the outfield. And they just look at first base and say, okay, unrestricted free agents, Pete Alonso, Christian Walker, which one of those two guys do we need to sign? Which one do we want? Like, fine. If you want to go with the scorched earth revenge route of Pete Alonso and try to go that side of things, maybe that'll be fun. I don't know. He's a big dumb idiot.
No, that ain't gonna end well. I do not want to spend the next 7 years comparing Pete Alonso numbers to Juan Soto numbers. Please no.
They are not signing him for 7 years. Do you think Pete Alonso's going to get 7?
What do you think he's going to get?
I think if they say it's 7 and they put a 4-year contract in front of him, he'll sign it. All right. So, those are to me some of the two routes. Luis Robert, I think that's a good bet. I really do. You don't fall into 38 home runs and 857 OPS by accident. I think that some of these injuries that he had last year, the hip flexor, was probably limiting his ability and hampered him in some capacity. That's why you see the K rate was so high. Again, situation in Chicago not being good. I think it's a really good bet to go out and get an athletic type guy like him that just changes the dynamics of your team. I mean, think about that. You have you sign a guy like Luis Robert, and then you have Dominguez playing in then left field. You have changed the dynamic of your lineup as well. You've made it deeper. You've made it more athletic. It's faster. You can do different things. Now you can score runs in different ways. So I think there's an interesting opportunity there. And then the infield has to be addressed.
Quickly on Alonso, MLB trade rumors originally in the offseason predicted 5 and 125.
Okay. That sounds better.
But they also predicted 13 and 600 for Juan Soto, and he blew that out of the water. So,
well, I mean, they're not. One is a very different type of talent.
Okay, let's see what they predicted for Max Fried.
It's not going to be 8 years.
6 and 156.
Okay. All right, now there's one guy.
What's the other guy? Sorry, one more. Signed in San Fran.
Corbin Burns?
No, signed in San Fran.
Snell?
No.
Oh, San Fran?
Adames.
Yeah, right. Position player.
6 and 160. So they've been a little bit off under on the deals. obviously Soto throws a wrench and everything, but I could see 6 and 150 for Pete Alonso being what he gets, 25 a year, 6 years.
Maybe. I don't know. It's all the same to me.
No, it's all monopoly money at this point.
I really don't give a shit. Just sign the better player, sign the player that you think is going to impact the team the best and make the best moves. And, the fact that, I just don't believe that you have to go and say, if you were to go out and trade for a guy like Luis Robert, Cody Bellinger is your first baseman.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
Yeah.
Okay. Like that's good. That's a good thing. I still think you need another lefty bat though. And this is where my guy that I wanted to sign last year that had a very good year out in the National League in St. Louis makes so much goddamn sense. Just makes absolutely so much sense in going out and making a trade for Brendan Donovan. I love the player. He's versatile. He can play second. He can play third. He doesn't have a ton of power. He doesn't hit the ball extremely hard, but again, like you need someone who can fill the position, get on base a ton. And he does have a bit of a stroke to right field. He's a lefty bat and he's got a power stroke to right field. So, 14 career high home runs last year. He's not nothing, 12.4 K rate. So you're not getting like a guy
low strikeout rate.
You're not getting a guy that just is a singles hitter. I mean, he hit 14 last year. That could translate into 20 home runs as a Yankee, going into the short porch, because that's where his power alley is. So he can play outfield, but he's second base, third base.
His outs
again
above
gives
average,
you more flexibility on the infield.
good range, poor arm strength and arm value, according to Baseball Savant.
Which is a bullshit thing. Like they always say something that's, I don't even know what that means anymore.
Well,
Volpe was negative. Like
if
everybody, you may not be able to throw the ball harder, but you can get the ball out of your hand faster, or like the guys make up for that shit.
I think it's also positionally, because the same arm at second base is more valuable than the same arm at third base, for example.
Huh?
I think it's also measured positionally. And so if you have the same arm strength, but you play second base,
Of course, yes.
Your arm is more valuable than if you play third base, because the
Oh,
throws
no, I
are
think
not
third base,
No, no,
you want
I'm
the
sa-
stronger arm.
What I'm saying is, say two people threw the ball the exact same. One
Yes.
plays second base, one plays third base.
Yes.
The one at second base would probably be ranked higher as far as arm strength goes.
Oh, correct. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
What is the
'Cause
Tommy
if
Boy
if he
thing?
plays multiple positions, his arm strength could be measured on a position he's not suited for.
Great. Whatever the nerds, however they're measuring his arm strength.
Did you get the hold on? Did you
and-
get the MLB app notification yesterday? There's a new
I can't turn them off. Can you turn them off? They
I've
won't
tried
turn
to
off for me.
But did
I
you
try
get
to
it,
only
though?
get updates from Yankees games, and I get everything from MLB. And I've
New
tried to
StatCast
change
metric.
it 50
I got
times.
this Monday at 1:15 p.m. with the alert emojis. I'm like, oh shit, did a trade go down? No. New StatCast metric. Best base runner. Fuck off, StatCast.
Yeah, I don't know what's the deal with their notification system, but it's never turned off, and it's highly frustrating.
You can't use
And
the
I get
alarm
inundated.
emojis in the hot stove and tell me about a new metric.
Brendan Donovan would fit this team so very well. The Cardinals are in a spot here where like it's almost like they're taking a backseat, hitting a slight reset button for a year or two.
Yeah.
This is a guy that is absolutely expendable and fits the Yankees so very well, and would fit this roster so very well. And the fact they do need another left-handed bat, because the available guys that you're looking at are, the majority of them are right-handed hitters.
You've got
And if
two
you're going to go out
lefties.
there and sign one of those right-handed hitters, you have Bellinger as a lefty.
Oh, three
and,
lefties now, right?
Dominguez.
Jazz, Bellinger, and Wells as lefties. If Dominguez is in there, obviously he's a switch hitter. So that's not
Yes.
terrible balance.
It's not terrible balance, but give me one more. Give me one more. And a guy like Donovan, like, I love the fact that you're bringing in guys, and I've said this so many times in the past, that are just baseball players. These guys can come out and play different positions. If you need Brendan Donovan to go out there and play the outfield in some capacity, he can do that. If you need Cody Bellinger to play first base on a given day, he can do that. If you need Jazz Chisholm to play anywhere on the diamond, he can do that. And I'm not saying that you move them around all the time, but you have the flexibility when in a pinch or given a situation that looks, ripe for the taking as far as a matchup, that you can make a move and you can put baseball players on the baseball diamond and feel confident that they're going to catch the ball and field the ball. And I love that. I absolutely love that. Like getting some guys out there that usually those guys have higher baseball IQ as well. And let's all be honest, the Yankees need baseball IQ in freaking truckloads.
The problem is they don't have it in the manager position. So,
well, then you have to somehow, again, talking about risk mitigation, do it with your players and bring in guys who have the ability to play different positions and understand that they have to adjust.
Get some players that are idiot proof.
Yeah. And a guy like Brendan Donovan just absolutely fits the need. So again, in a perfect world, if I were the GM, and I think these are obtainable, I've talked myself into Luis Robert. I think that is a dynamic move that could really pay dividends. It could blow up, but I don't think the blow up is even all that bad either, given what we saw last year. Like, what the hell is a blow up now? We've been through that. You can't hurt me like we've seen some of these guys do nothing like they did. Like Verdugo was a nothing burger all last year.
Right.
At least give me some athleticism and do other things. Like that will always be there. But I think Luis Robert, Brendan Donovan, now you're talking about a different type of makeup for this team. You're not trying to just go out there and make it, replace the runs in the same capacity. You got to do it a little differently and put this thing together.
If they do all
and they're
of
more
that,
athletic, and I like that.
If they do all of those moves you just outlined, do you think they're better than 2024 roster?
I think the roster in total is better.
You know what I mean. Are they better?
It's hard to say because I think that they're right there. And I'm not going to compare it to last year. I'm going to compare it to what the rest of the American League is. And I still think that they are the favorite of the American League if they do that. Yes.
The AL West seems to be just like, hey, whoever sucks the least is going to be the winner of that division now. And you know how I feel about the AL Central. So sure. Are the Orioles going to be better? The Red Sox got Garrett Crochet. They're going to be better. What do the Rays look like next year? The Blue Jays, I feel like, are just kind of like waddled in.
What if the Red Sox go out? What if the Red Sox go and trade for Lance?
Oh, by the way, how about their final offer to Juan Soto?
What was it?
It was all the reports are like high 600s with a lot of deferred money, like not even close.
Yeah. Well, the ability to like Lance Bregman. I kind of hope Lance Bregman goes there, to be honest, because that would like infuse it a little bit. Lance Bregman. What am I? Lance Berkman.
You combined Lance Berkman and Alex Bregman. I was like, for a second,
Astros.
I was like, Lance Bregman sounds like he can hit some bombs to the short porch. What's going on here? Let's sign him.
Alex Bregman signing with I still think he's going to sign with the.
Why would he sign with the Red
Tigers.
Sox? They have a third baseman.
Well, he can play second base. He's already said he will come out and play second base.
Great.
But I like it because it brings some hatred over to Boston again. I immediately hate them more.
Didn't him and Cora have a thing?
Yes, a good thing.
Oh, it was a good thing?
It was a good thing. Cora likes him. Cora wants it. He does feel like a Cora guy. He does feel like a Cora guy. So him going over there and they have
shithead, just an annoying shithead.
They got Crochet, which was free. Basically, they had to give up prospects. They could sign Corbin Burns. That could happen also. All of a sudden, the Red Sox, who have a lot of young talent, you sign two more guys. If they sign two different guys, if they sign Bregman and Corbin Burns, now you have some stiff competition.
They're definitely going to be better this year than last year, obviously.
And they have the best manager possibly in the American League.
Yeah. Better than Kevin Cash?
Yeah, I think at this point, yes. I think Kevin Cash has lost his luster.
Better than...
Yes.
No. Who's
AJ Hinch?
No, not AJ Hinch.
Well,
I don't know.
Cleveland.
I can't think of
anybody
else.
Anybody in the AL Central?
Who's Cleveland's manager? Bard, right?
Yeah.
I know who's not the best manager in the American League.
Yeah, Aaron Boone.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else you want to talk about? Oh, I know you mentioned you got excited because Josh Naylor might be available in a trade package.
First of all, I don't think I don't want Josh Naylor. I was
No.
kind of joking, but I will say he's got an edge, and he's got an edge.
Not a good edge.
Something about that guy has an edge.
Yeah, he's got an edge.
He's
He's got an edge. It's hidden in his sock, and he might cut you with it.
It's possible. And look, I wouldn't be totally upset if he were on the team. Like, he's inflated himself a little bit. But he's got an
fat.
edge. I like guys with edges. I like an edge.
You
I like
said
an
that
edge.
about Josh Donaldson too.
Yeah, no, I did not. A little bit. He was
Run
an
the
asshole.
tape.
It was different. I don't think Josh Naylor is an asshole.
You don't think Josh
he's-
Naylor's an asshole?
No, I don't think he's an asshole.
I feel like that's core to his personality.
No. I think he's a video game bad guy. I think Donaldson is an asshole. I think Naylor is crazy. I think there's a very big difference between crazy and an asshole. And sometimes they can overlap and look the same.
But
they
crazy.
can look the same, but crazy is unpredictable. Okay. Josh Donaldson is pretty predictable. He's just going to be an asshole. He's going to he's the guy who comes and like backhands you in the dick in the clubhouse. Like he's that guy. Naylor will look at you the wrong way and you back up. Like he's different. He's a little unpredictable in that sense. And
but then you got to trade.
I kind of like that.
You got to trade for his crappy brother too. They're a pair.
Well, so I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think.
So do you think Lance? What'd you call him?
Lance Berkman?
Lance Bregman is an asshole.
Big little Puma.
Would you categorize Bregman as?
He's an asshole. Yeah, for sure.
I categorize
He's a prick.
him.
No, he's not a prick. He's a prick.
He's like a troll. He's a troll instigator.
No, he's like a condescending little shit.
Yeah, but do you remember what he did back in the I believe this was 2019 playoffs, where like he was playing into the Yankees being paranoid about the sign stealing. So maybe this was after that because the sign stealing came out after. All I know is like anytime he would always stand up and give like fake signals at the top of the dugout. Remember he would do that?
He's just a bitch. He's a little bit. He's a bitch. Like I don't know. I also have like back in the day, a little story time here. Like he was looking for a podcast and trying to sign a podcast. I
forgot about this.
I had a meeting with him and his agent, and we were talking about a podcast. And I'm going into this like, oh man, I'm about to get on a Zoom call with Alex Bregman. This is in 20.
You called him Lance Bergman, and he didn't want to do any business.
This is in 2020. I think it was 2020. So not that far removed from, the scandal. And there, I don't know, there were some things in my background. Like he knew I was a Yankees fan. He said it. And he said something to me. He said something about it. Like in joking, like just being a condescending, like the Yankees or something along those lines. And I wanted to fight him. I wanted to jump through the screen and I wanted to fight him. He was smug. He's a terrible podcaster. Should have never picked up a mic.
Did he ever do that?
I don't know. I don't care. I stopped looking. He's dead to me in so many ways. The last thing I'm going to do is listen to him talk on a fucking microphone. But I did challenge him to a ping because he was talking about ping pong. I was like, I would kick your ass in ping pong. And I was like very serious about that. So hopefully at some point in my life, I can whoop his ass in ping pong.
Doesn't look like Alex Bregman's podcast is still active.
Shocker.
It's turning up it did 13 episodes.
Yeah. Probably not very far after I had a conversation with him because
the last episode was posted on August 1st, 2020.
There you go. See, my timeline is correct. I remember the hate. Very vividly. And I remember like putting on a fake smile. I'm like, I gotta like try to recruit this guy a little bit. Like, I don't think he's a good podcaster. So this might not go very well, this conversation. And yeah, he stopped podcasting. So I guess it didn't go very well.
Damn. Now I have to kind of root for the Yankees to sign him. So you suffer.
Oh,
it's a tough lot. I
think a lot of us would suffer.
Yeah, I don't want to.
And frankly, like it would be such a stupid move on his part. Such a stupid.
Oh
move.
Yeah, because unless he hits 325 with 30 home runs, he's getting hated.
And by the way, you want to talk about Bregman real quick? Bregman is not the same guy he was 4 or 5 years ago.
No, of course not. He's
not the same guy. Like this is
he is on the back. He is on the back nine.
Yes, and if I'm going to get one of those guys, don't give them don't give me the twilight of their career and go down with that ship. Like that is not a ship I'm willing to go down with. Is he the best third baseman on the market right now? Yeah, he is.
But that's not.
I don't want him
by default.
Carlos Correa, same story. Didn't want him, not interested. I don't care. At some point, you have to understand that this is where the common sense department comes in, and you say, you know what? It's not a good fit. It's not a good fit organizationally. And if you don't think about what your fan base is, then like shame on you for not thinking about that a little bit too.
What if it's January 24th, Bregman's not signed, and he's willing to take a 1-year deal?
No, I don't want him. Because if that's the case, then the Yankees haven't addressed the need that they have to get this team, and there's something's not right.
Right. By January 20th, you should not have a hole at second or third base. Yeah.
Yes. So right. I just don't want the guy.
I don't. Yeah, I agree.
I don't want him.
That's going to wrap it up. Most likely our last podcast of 2024, unless something major happens. Next week is Christmas week. And then after that is New Year's. We'll be back at you again in the new year, I figure. Right?
Maybe one more. We'll see. I feel like there's something.
We'll record a quick pod when you're over the house.
So I'm coming to visit. Maybe I'll bring my stuff.
We're not doing that.
I will be prepared. And you know, I do think that the Yankees are going to sign someone. I think we're going to see more about what the plan is here before the end of the year. I think things are moving quicker at this point. So,
all right.
And if I'm a free agent, I want to sign before the new year.
Before Christmas. Yeah.
Ideally, but definitely before the new year.
All right, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for listening. Again, go check out factormeals.com/50Bronx for that awesome deal of half off. And we'll talk to you again when the Yankees make a move or in the new year.